Espera.
Hello, we are group number 2, and today we're going to be analyzing national cultures. In this case, we're going to be talking about Belgium, Brazil, and Colombia in order to understand all the dimensions that characterize these countries. To start, we have the parallel system to help us understand and express that all individuals in society are not equal. In this case, as we can see, all of them are in a similar range of numbers and represent that in all of the countries, there is inequalities. In this case, in Colombia, there's a 67 units, and it represents that all the layers of society are unequal. Also in Belgium, the hierarchy is needed as a result that superiors could have privileges and power. And in Brazil, it reflects that a society believes in hierarchy and represents inequalities amongst people. Also, in individualism, it represents the dimension that reflects the degree of interdependence in society. In this case, Colombia is the lowest of the three countries and represent that Colombia is a collectivism society, which represents that people depend on relationships and like collective groups. In this case, Belgium is the highest of the three and represents that there are an individual society that work by themselves and are not part of a group. Lastly, Brazil has a score of 38, which means that this country's people are and live for family and support.
So in the masculinity dimension, a high score in this dimension indicates that the society will be driven by success, like competition and achievement, which defines the winner in the system. And this competition, it starts from the school, and then it goes through the organizational life. So Colombia has the highest score, which means it's a masculine society that is driven by success, and the people in Colombia are also very competitive and are status oriented. Yet they are also a collectivistic country. In Belgium, it's the lowest in the score, which means the process taking decisions are much more thought, and this means there is a mutual agreement between the parts in the decision. And then in Brazil, it's an intermediate score, the lowest score. That means the people in this country prioritize what they like to do rather than success or other things that people in Belgium or in Colombia prioritize.
Well, in the part of the uncertainty avoidance, we have that Belgium has a 94%. Something that happens with Belgium is the rules are very regulated and important, because in this country happens that without them could be stressful for the organization. It's like planning all the structures, and the politics is all regulated. Something that happened with Brazil so is curious, because they have the score high in compared to Latin America, and the societies are very popular because they have a strong need to rules like Belgium, and the legal systems are very in order to the structure of a daily life, to an organization culture. And finally, in Colombia, that has a low percent in comparison to these two, is like they have that uncertainty avoidance, that the nation have something like mechanism to avoid that ambiguity in the order to the orders. So the organization manage emotional openly express, and the rules they are manifested, but sometimes could be like the emotional part it like have that importance.
Okay, and moving on to the last two dimensions, we have long-term orientation, that is to which extent the society has to maintain some links to their past and to their traditions. For the first case, we have Belgium, that shows to be a society that can adapt to new things and aren't attached to their past. On the medium, we have Brazil, that is a society that scores an intermediate level and that have some attachment to their past that can move on. And at the lowest, we have Colombia, that show that we are really normative and that people try to stick to their past and their traditions and are kind of radical to this. In the last dimension, we have indulgence, that basically talks about the extent to which people try to control like their desires and impulses. We can see that the country that scored the highest is Colombia, and this means that Colombians are the ones that give most time to their pleasure, to the things that they like to do, and they kind of not retain their desires, while Belgium and Brazil scored a very similar point, and they have no problem into releasing time to their favorite things, but not as much as in Colombia.
Well, finally, in the part of people's behavior and people's and business performance, we have that in an environment of this. In these three countries could be very similar, also different, but in the part of similar, the information will be managed for the power. And that power is the part of superior that have privilege. And in addition, the control is considered for a formal way in these three countries and is to be expected and normal. The three follow a series of rules, so it's normal have the power on the structure and manage a personal contact that connect every part of the structure to have a better communication. Something different is the part of the individualism, like I said before, because when in Belgium or Colombia have that part of everyone that your tax, Brazil could be more like everyone have the occupations, but at the finally of the three, they are a mutual agreement. So yeah, it's pretty similar.
Thank you very much.
Thank